His latest mock draft is a 4-round mock draft. He's the first to get that deep into these, and he's actually got a very big surprise for Broncos country, a splash that would make them the talk of the entire draft. That's what would happen here. Chad says that the Broncos are going to trade with the Dallas Cowboys to get to number 12, and they're going to trade to land Tyler Warren. They would give up their first, so just a pick swap from 12 to 20. They'd give up their second, which is number 51, and then they'd also get back a fifth?
Yes.
A fifth-round pick
right.
in this mock. So, do you?
I like it.
Do you?
I love it.
And do you want some more of it?
You're going to play all three?
Oh, here we go.
I want some more of it.
Yeah. What do you like? What do you love? What do you hate? I don't hate any of this, to be honest.
Well, if Bo Nix is the identity of this team, and Chad said point blank period, Bo Nix is the identity of this team.
I love that.
Then you need to do everything possible to put the best talent possible around Bo Nix. Who's the best? I don't want to get too technical. The best tight end is Colston Loveland. The best tight end / H-back / fullback / playmaker is Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
And if
all that
you
stuff
move
sounds
up,
pretty good.
It does. It does sound pretty good because it's less of players that can't make the plays that he can. Nate Atkins is a great story, and he's a fine blocker and H-back, and Adam Troutman, he can block, he can get out there. Tyler Warren can blow these guys out of the water in what he can do, not only in those skills, but also as a receiver. You want him to throw the ball, you want him to run the ball, he can do it all. Don't call him Taysom Hill, because he's not. He is like supercharged Taysom Hill or something. Like to call him Taysom Hill is actually a disrespect to Tyler Warren and what he can bring to the table for the Denver Broncos. So you like the idea. You love the compensation. You're giving up that second, but you're getting back a fifth, so you're changing the value of the pick. You're not losing the number of picks, and maybe that's a key point if George Paton were to do this sort of a deal where it's like, okay, I'm giving up a second rounder, but I'm also getting back a fifth, so I still have the number of arrows in the quiver. And that's what George Paton's all about. So you move up, you get a guy who's best for Bo Nix, and then you go forward. People talking about a potential sophomore slump for Bo Nix. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, anything is possible. KG said that. However, when you add a ground game, which could be from a running back we'll talk about in a little bit that Chad had in his latest 4-round mock draft for the Broncos, when you add a tight end / weapon, and I kind of want to coach everybody to start calling Tyler Warren an OW, because he's not really a TE.
Okay.
He's an offensive weapon.
I like that.
You know, like the way I look at Christian McCaffrey, he's not an RB, he's an OW. He's an offensive weapon. Tyler Warren's different, but that's who he is, and certainly that spot in the red zone. So you're worried about teams having film on Bo Nix. Okay, that's fair, and we saw with C.J. Stroud last year in a bad division where he's going to have a slump. They still make it and win a playoff game. Well, if you're the Denver Broncos, you want to move up from that 10 wins, 12 wins, 13 wins would be in the elite tier. Not sure if they're there yet, but they can make a run. They can be a problem in the postseason with Bo Nix having the support of a real ground game and having more playmakers, perhaps a Tyler Warren, around him.
Mm-hmm. You know what I thought about when I read this one last night? I'm like, man, it would be so great to have rich people problems when in if it's a first round pick, you have that fifth year to be like, oh, man. Tyler Warren's trying to get paid like a wide receiver because of how great he was. Imagine that problem for the Broncos in 5 years from right now.
The Jim Graham thing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly
where
right.
Jimmy Graham's like, don't franchise tag me as a tight end. I'm a wide receiver. And he was right, although Morgan Freeman voice, he was wrong because the NFL tagged him and held up the tag as a tight end.
But he had a great case for himself. The NFL just, they're not going to.
Well, we had the numbers.
They're in the business of screwing
top of my
players.
head, Kev, wasn't it like 65% of the snaps that Jimmy Graham was lined up as a slot receiver, not as a tight end?
Yeah.
So he had an argument. The NFL didn't support his argument because they don't do that.
No, they don't. They are not pro player in that league, NFL. The other part of this is what they then do in rounds 3 and 4 with Chad Ryder doing a full 4-round mock draft. And with their third pick, which is, 85th overall, right? Yeah, scrolling, 85th. They get Princely, I said it so good earlier. Human Leon, I believe it is, edge rusher from Mississippi. Again, if that's best player available as a pass rusher at 85, I'm all for it. I will ask you this, though, because at 122 in the 4th round is where they find their running back in Cam Scatteraboo. Would you prefer at 85 Is Devin Neal there? Is
Yeah.
there one of those other running backs that maybe you like better than Cam Scatterbo, and you flip this process that Chad has where it's running back at 85 and then best pass rusher available at 122?
Chad's got his finger on the pulse of the draft world. He said on air last night, Devin Neal will be there in the 5th round.
The 5th round?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I think that's a little too low for
Okay,
him. I would
okay.
take him in the 3rd round, and I would take him over Cam Scatterbo. Everyone's going to have different opinions on these running backs. My opinion on Devin Neal is pretty high. I think he's a player that could fit really nicely for the Denver Broncos as their Mark Ingram. He compares himself to Joe Mixon, but as a Mark Ingram type of prospect, I think that Devin Neal would be that guy. So if you replaced edge rusher at 85 with running back, whether it is Scatterbo or not, Devin Neal, then yeah. And there might be a running back run. Here's where the draft is always fluid. It's always in motion. Is that you have to be aware when a run starts and where you're at, comparatively speaking. It's like a fantasy football draft. You don't want to be on the wrong end of a run.
Yeah.
Last year, the Denver Broncos were on the wrong end of a run at running back, so they missed out on Bucky Irving, who had 1,500 all-purpose yards, playing 42% of the snaps for Tampa. Sounds exactly like what Sean Payton would have used him as. And you've got Audric Estime. Audric Estime was the end of that run on running backs. You don't want to be at the end of that run. And if Audric Estime, God bless him, if he was in this class, he might not be drafted. Doesn't mean he can't play, but it just means that this draft class is chock full of amazing talent at the running back position. So based on how you're feeling, where did Travion Henderson go? When did Quinshon Judkins go? Right? Where's Caleb Johnson at? 2nd round. Like, where do these backs go? Do the teams that need backs, have they gotten one? Maybe some have gotten 2 by that point. You need to make that decision of 85 of, okay, we need to make that decision now, not wait till day 3 for a potential starting running back. Now, they're there. They're there in the 4th round, but I don't know if you want to play that game. If you want to just shore it up in the 3rd round and take your Quinshon Judkins or even Cam Scatterbo in the 3rd, and then in the 5th round, if Devin Neal's there, or the 6th round, if Devin Neal's there, you take that guy.
Okay. So still grabbing 2 running backs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm with you on that.
You're going to get 2 running backs.
Yeah. I know they need an edge rusher, and you're not sure. I mean, I don't know. How much do they really need an edge rusher? You have Joan Ellis. You have Nick Benito, who you're about to extend. You've already extended a guy like Jonathan Cooper. I know that's a premium position, but man, running back right now means more. For 2025, running back means more than the best player available at 85 or 122 as a pass rusher, to me. I think you would agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
And it's just weird because you kind of go off of your, hey, it's best player available no matter what. But it's like, well, maybe it's best player available in these later rounds at position of need.
Yeah, at position of need is always the key phrase there in the draft because that's what it is. And it's not a crapshoot. I know, has Mike Evans started banging that drum yet? It's a total crapshoot. Okay, well, if that's the case, then take the worst player ever at 20.
Yeah.
Because it's a crapshoot, right? You just don't know. It's a roll of the dice. No, there's strategy involved. And there's also recognizing and realizing what the rest of the teams are doing around you.
Yeah. Look, I earlier when we talked about this, I had forgot about the 5th round pick coming back, and I was still on board with this.
Yeah.
If you're the Broncos and you can land Tyler Warren, giving up you're not giving up a first, you're just swapping your first. You're basically giving up your 2nd round pick, which I get it. It's a big one. But to land a guy like Tyler Warren, the juice is worth the squeeze. Well worth the squeeze in this proposed trade idea from your boy Chad Ryder.
Do you know what's, I guess, alarming?
What?
Every team in the AFC West needs a back.
Wow.
So the mistake that you made on Bucky Irvin last year, that would crush you if you were in their division because you'd see the guy that you loved out there making plays.
I mean, because the Raiders are going to get Genty.
That's the buzz.
The Chargers are, 22 or 23? They're right in that wheelhouse.
They could leapfrog you for Travion Henderson, for Marion Hampton, right? The Chiefs brought back Kareem Hunt because they're kind of desperate at my guy Isaiah Pacheco can't stay healthy.
But what about them grabbing a Cam or a Devin in one of these later rounds?
Exactly. And they're sitting there at 31.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful.
They got Travion Henderson at 31.
Of where you're at. Right, because now you're thinking you could get cute and, Travion Henderson, miss out on a Marion Hampton. Travion Henderson's there. We got 51. Chiefs might just take him at 31. And then you're screwed because you see that guy twice a year.
And they'd find a way to use him immediately. Immediately.
Tre'Von Henderson on the Chiefs would be scary.
I hate that.
Scary.
I hate to even think about that because that would absolutely be terrifying. All right, Broncos country, how do you feel about it? Would you do the deal? I don't know anybody that's going to say no to this. RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043. You give up the second and a pick swap with the Cowboys to grab Tyler Warren in the 2025 NFL Draft. Yay or nay on the text line, and then throw your name on it so we can give you a shout out here on the show.